Look at us now, tip to tip.
Ooh, Jesus.
Oh.
Shout out to Morning Combat.
Do you want a margarita?
Yes!
My God!
It's us doing what we love. It's time to bang. Oh, yeah, get fired up. It's UFC 322 fight week. It's Monday, November 10th of the 25s, and you've stumbled in right here on Morning Combat. Get fired up, right? Let's do this thing. My name is BC with the BDE, Brian Campbell, fresh and direct from the basement of my suburban Hartford Amode, which rhymes with commode. And next to me is the man with the red and black, no hat to match. And I must say, Luke, in honor of you, good friend of the program, Joe Run Dem Cheeks, happy Marine birthday, Semper Fi.
Yes.
Never die.
10 November 1775, a day that is glorious.
Is that the day Cuervo invented tequila? No, sorry. That's not it.
Yes, Semper Fi to all the Marines out there, past, present, and future. It is a glorious day. I don't know if I'm guessing the Marine Corps did their birthday balls last weekend, not this coming weekend, but in either case, I'm sure it was a raucous affair.
It probably weren't blue, knowing those Marines, right? They probably emptied the chamber. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they probably did.
Yeah. How come we never shout out Osborne on this day? Some gave all, and she did, Luke, okay?
Yeah. Some gave all, and all gave some. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
There you go.
Do you know what that? You know that? Who said that quote?
Francis Scott Key, right as he was writing the national anthem.
Yeah, not at all. But okay, very good.
Thank you very much. All right, hey, we're gonna have a fantastic show for you. We're gonna look back at what went down in the warehouse this weekend. Look ahead to UFC 322. We've also got a little bit of boxeo to nibble around from Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s destruction of Erickson Lubin with boots on the horizon. Also this Saturday, don't forget Eubank Benn 2 over there in the UK. So a lot going on in here. Fired up to be here with you. Also. Like and subscribe to these here channels that we got going on, social media, extended YouTube channels. Your subscription on YouTube does go a long way. Shout out to everybody watching on the DraftKings network. And of course, to all them divorced dads, we see you too directly through your ear hole as you're sadly buying groceries for one, but sometimes that happens. Okay. Sometimes. All right. LT, I also wanted to tell you about timing here because now is as good time as ever to remember the story of where tequila truly began. Yes, let's take you back all the way back to 1795. You know what happened? Cuervo invented tequila. And since then, Cuervo has done nothing but stay true to its own roots. We're talking same family. We're talking same land. You better believe I'm talking about the same passion because 230 years later, Cuervo is still right here, right now, in every pour, in every margarita, in every celebration. So why don't you enjoy the tequila that started it all, Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. ProximoCuervo.com. Please drink responsibly. And Luke Thomas, you, myself, and Oscar Willis of MacLife fame will unite to drink responsibly this Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern on the YouTubes, live and direct from the Meadowlark Studio in Manhattan, New York. It is UFC 322 pregame preview. LT, again, what can the people expect here? Wholesome version.
Oh, wholesome version. Oh, I have to edit it then. Well, Oscar Willis is going to be there. I don't know how wholesome it's going to be, but listen, you've sat through 2 weeks of betting scandals and otherwise fairly mediocre to less than mediocre cards, but all of that turns around big time this week. 322, an A-level card, if ever there was one. Lots to be excited about. Oscar Willis is going to bring it. I don't know why we wouldn't have a good time.
His shirt will be off at some point, right?
Regrettably, but probably.
Yes. All right. Thank you. MK, of course, brought to you by Cuervo. Now is a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila. Quick hello to the third member of our team, a bong enthusiast, producer, director, son of a horned up fellow from down under. Hey, it's Luke Nocita of Main Card Minute fame. LIL, how are you, buddy?
I'm hyped, guys. I'm hyped for UFC 322 fight week. We just came off a great Apex card, and dare I say, great. It was kind of fun, dude.
Very good, at least.
Fights were kind of fun.
5 for 5 finishes in the main card, by the way.
the way it looked on paper, it was like, and I feel like it played out like, oh, that was actually a fun time. So.
That's what Dana told Nina Drama. Don't
That's true,
complain
that's
until the
true.
card happens, right, Luke?
That's right. It's the worst logic imaginable, which would make it you could defend literally any card ever at that point, you know.
Luke, I saw your buddy 45/47 at the Redskins game yesterday.
Yeah.
Rousing reaction from the crowd. Will he be able to change the name of your beloved football team?
I mean, it seems unlikely, but I would never count it out. The problem you have is, number one, just on a basic level, the naming rights are typically sold for like tens of millions of dollars.
Well, to the stadium, not to the team.
You mean change the name of the team back to the Redskins?
No, you had alerted me that the head of this nation would like that team to rename its team in his honor.
No, rename. They want to name. He wants the stadium named after him.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like the Washington Trumpeteers or something. And then
no. He wants the stadium named after him. But I'm like, just on a practical level, that's at least 5 years away, potentially more, and. He might not. I mean, I'm just saying he's old. I don't know what his health situation is going to be like then. And more to the point, do you have to sell that stuff for like tens of millions of dollars? Like,
yeah.
Seems now, might they name the street around it for him, or like Trump Field at whatever park, or all of that seems possible, but I don't know.
I'd like to see like the MAGA Ball. It'd be like a dome stadium for the Commanders. No,
everyone could take turns. There's a fake Nancy Pelosi desk where everyone could go and just take dumps on it.
Just smear stuff across it. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Luke, any quick update on your life or any mental revelations you've come upon lately?
Finished a couple of books over the weekend that I was really trying to sit down and read. My wife left for a business trip, and so
yes.
But obviously I got some help here with Abuela, so I took some time to just read over the weekend. Oh my God. You know how great that felt, just to like quietly spend a night being able to like pour over my books. It's like the happiest it made me in quite some time. I was really happy
I've
about
lost
it.
The attention span to read, Luke. That's an unfortunate situation.
People, you know what? Let me say something very quick about that. That's a real thing. Absolutely, that's a real thing. It's called reading stamina. But like anything else, you can actually just train that. Just set a clock, read 5 minutes at a time, then 10, then 15, then 20 to 30. You don't need to read more than an hour if you don't want to. That's like really, I would say, a good goal to get to. But you can absolutely get all of that back. You just have to focus.
All right, I'll learn how to retrain my dragon here, Luke, and get back into reading. Also, you may have seen it splashed across the bottom of the screen at an incorrect time, but you can also get our merch right now going to morningcombat.shop. Do we have November exclusives? Yes, we do, but they will not be here forever. Check out the new bleeding MK logo on sweatshirt, on t-shirt, or how about the Average Joe Art inspired Combat Buddies? Hug one today in t-shirt form or signed autograph poster. Wow, what a way to remember your time as a viewer of this fantastic show that continues to trug forward. Go to morningcombat.shop. Get your stuff today, okay? That's what I'm talking about. You want to dress like Saul? Be as cool as that, Louis Villian? Wear our shit. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. That's all I got for you. Hey, it's time to start this rousing show. Of course, we're going to close with DMs from Donks and pick the Shiite out of my kernels, or maybe that's strike that, reverse that. Either way, be here at the end of the program. Topic number one, though, takes us back to the Apex, the warehouse. It was UFC Fight Night on Saturday, a welterweight main event pairing first-time headliners as Gabriel Bonfim of Brazil sent a statement of sorts to the rest of the division with a brutal second-round TKO of Rude Boy Randy Brown, and the number 14 ranked Bonfim fulfilled his pre-fight prediction of a second-round stoppage by systematically breaking Brown down with calf kicks before finishing it via knee strike. Now riding a 4-fight win streak, 6-1 overall in the UFC. Here's my question to you, LT. What was the major difference that you saw between the version of Bonfim on Saturday night and the one who had struggled enough, whether it be the disputed win over Stephen Thompson or the loss to Nicholas Dalby, where we had legitimate questions coming into this fight?
I'm not, well, it's a great question because I'm not sure if we learned something. I mean, you always learn something new in a new fight. So I don't mean it in that sense, but I mean, this is kind of the issue, right? Randy Brown was just kind of always in range the whole time, and he got his leg chewed to pieces as a consequence, right? And so the point I'm trying to make is through his pressure or Bonfim being able to pull him, it stylistically worked out in a way that was pretty advantageous for him. And I don't realize he made an adjustment, in the second part of the fight or whatever, the second round. But the point I'm trying to make, BC, is how much of what we saw from Bonfim's very good performance here, because that's what we should say. It's clearly a strong return you got there. How much of that was from some kind of leveling up process that happened either before or during the bout itself, or how much of it was due to some stylistic influences kind of creating the circumstances that you got? I tend to lean more towards the latter in that case, more than the former, in part because I would need to see someone that wasn't necessarily stylistically giving him things to work with more easily, and then seeing how he overcomes some of that. And we didn't really get an opportunity for that. But BC, to the point that you asked, what'd you get from Bonfim? The leg kicks I thought were, he just kept going back to it over and over and over and over again. But more than that, you saw eventually Randy Brown try and throw a lot in combination in these exchanges. And at times Bonfim took the bait, but not really. He got the better of those the vast majority of the times, or at a bare minimum, certainly avoided the worst. And it made Brown resort to worse and worse and worse, either habits or choices, to the point where he was bending over at the end. Then he got fed that knee and got polished off. Bonfim had fed him that knee earlier in that fight, and it landed, but not to the same degree. So to me, it was a very, very great example of what you can get in the UFC when someone has, I would say, a diverse array of targets, who tends to take offense by the scruff of the neck and then apply it. I'm just not sure I saw anything there that told me, the guys who he lost to, he beat them now. Maybe, but I'd need to see it, actually.
I saw stuff. I got to be honest with you.
All right, let's hear it.
With my white belt eyes. Look, there had been some inconsistencies in Gabriel Bonfim's game, sometimes too aggressive, different things that have maybe led to the one defeat and, of course, the questionable win over Wonder Boy. And it's one thing to say ahead of a fight. I mean, by the way, we'll talk about Mayra Bueno Silva briefly. She said she almost guaranteed she was going to get a stoppage win on Saturday, and I don't even think she's going to be employed anymore after that loss. So it's one thing to say, I've made these changes, I've learned these lessons from these tough fights. It's another thing to apply it. I thought Bonfim applied it. He wasn't overly aggressive. He came out in more of a counter stance, obviously focusing on that calf. But if you think about it under the terms of the way Dominic Cruz so eloquently presented it, and by the way, a fight night without a Bisping was, wow, thank you, Lord, on that one. The biggest advantage for Randy Brown was going to be striking head-to-head, specifically behind that nearly 6-inch reach advantage. So how did Bonfim take that away? By constantly going after the calves and slowing him down and keeping him out of rhythm. I think Brown thought Bonfim was going to come after him aggressively. Instead, he came at him very calculated, very poised, never really overly rushed it, didn't put himself in a position to gas out, although obviously the fight only went a round and a half, so we didn't see where it was going to go from there. But it was really damn calculated and precise, in my opinion, using those advantages to hurt and slow down Brown, even if Brown was taking an unconscionable amount of those kicks without checking all of them. And what did that do? That set him up for the finishing strike in the second round. I saw somebody who was confident, but mixed with that confidence was the poise and knowing that I have to execute when I climb to the higher levels. And I don't think Randy Brown's a world beater. He's a good fighter. He's a tough out. So you can only take so much from this. But if this is the direction Bonfim's going to go moving forward, then in my opinion, he's moving forward directly into the direction of title contention, or maybe not, true title contention in the top 3 or 4, but top 10 contention, which is not nothing here, coming in ranked 14th, coming out of it, looking for a big fight. And we'll get into that big fight in a second. But when we say things like this lower third below of sending a statement, do you believe in that? Do you agree with that? Was there a statement sent at the very least to the rest of the division that I'm closing up the holes in my game and figuring out how to make my strengths more efficient, more effective?
I'm less convinced by this analysis.
It was passionate and well delivered with a lot of,
I think there's something to be said for, he wasn't reckless. This is what I'll give you, right? He was absolutely methodical. And I think that's really the important part. He had a clear idea of what he wanted to do in this fight and executed it on it really well. That to me is what I saw, is a guy who, okay, here's my plan, and I'm going to apply it steadily, consistently, and in this case, very successfully throughout the duration of the bout. Took a little bit of time, but once he got going, it was never looking back. That to me is actually quite important. But dude, we're talking about 170. Like, just realistically, BC, looking at the top 10, who do you favor him over in that space? Long Island, you got the rankings up?
We always have.
I can get him up.
The
Kobe's
show.
number 10. I know that much because he called out Kobe. I think Gilbert's 11. Protest is 9. Morales is 8. Buckley is 7.
No.
Gary is 6. Usman's
No.
5.
No.
You didn't feel like this was the beginning of him going into the direction of being a more complete fighter?
I would say that I could not rule that out. I think that's on the table. But what you're asking me is, did I feel like I saw enough proof? Everyone's going to be different. Me personally, no, I didn't see it. And it sounds like I'm backing on the guy. He had a great performance. In fact, this was like, I mean, you could do, he put his stamp on the fight early. And let's be honest, Brown was never in it. There was really never a moment Brown was like really pushing back on him. Brown kind of survived and neutralized at times, for sure. But he didn't really ever put it on Bonfim. Bonfim put it on him. But given the way that Brown was fighting and given some of the other limitations that we know about Bonfim, and this is the important part, given how effing stacked 170 is, I think we need to be a little bit more cautious in what we're saying this means for the future. It's a tough road ahead of him, even if I grant he certainly performed very well on Saturday night.
Yeah, I thought it was a very impressive step forward in the direction we need. We'll see where he goes from there. We'll talk about the chaos that could be next for him. But first, quickly, I do want to talk about the stoppage from Mark Smith, which I do agree in real time had me going, whoa, what's going on here? Especially because Bonfim fell at the exact same time as Brown when their feet tangled. I thought it took just one look at a replay to realize that Mark Smith made the right call. I mean, Luke, when you look at this still picture of the idea that Brown was concussed on the way down with the knee and that maybe it took hitting his head on the canvas to wake back up. And even though he did wake back up, his eyes did not seem to be in the, as clear as possible. What were your thoughts in totality on the stoppage?
I definitely wanted to see it a second time, but I even tweeted as much. I thought in real time it looked okay to me, but I actually thought I had more doubt about it when they showed the replay, because as you indicate, by the time referee Mark Smith is there separating the two, Brown begins to roll to his base, right? But at the same time, I think it's a good stoppage. We kill referees when they make bad ones. I'm not saying this is like the most excellent stoppage I've ever seen, but I think in general, he definitely got it right. And it's a tough situation. The issue is whenever you have falling, what you always want to look for, I think, is like, it's one thing, but it's 1.5 things, which is uncontrolled falling body weight is going to be the kind of thing that a referee is going to notice, because that indicates you're not really in control of your faculties. You know, even if you get flash knocked down, but like you just sit to your butt and you're right back up, there's still some method of control on the descent and the reconstituting of the position very quickly. Brown went all the way backwards and then his head snapped back. And that's the second part, BC, is when they have uncontrolled head like collapsing backwards like that. These are terrible signs, and a referee sees that, they're going to intervene, especially if he's right there close and he probably heard how loud it was or was able to see Randy Brown's eyes, as you indicated. But that falling body weight with the uncontrolled head going back, man, you got to give referees a break. If that kind of thing happens, you know, even if you didn't like the call, again, I have no problem with it. Even if you didn't like the call, just that demarcation line it's gonna make it real difficult for him.
I thought the replay confirmed that it was the right call. You're telling me that you thought the replay brought more questions?
Again, there's no point where I thought it was a bad stoppage. I think it's a good stoppage. What I'm saying is, what I was looking for was at the moment of intervention by the referee, what was Brown showing in terms of his faculties? And the answer is not enough. Like, the stoppage was good, but it was better than it was on the descent. Right? Like, if you watch the replay, his eyes go like, you know, one way and the other. And then when he turtles and then looks up eventually, he's a little bit more with it. But obviously the stoppage already happened at that point. Again, I'm saying, did Mark Smith did he act on a reasonable basis to call a halt to that contest? I absolutely think that he did.
Yeah,
yes.
Brutal strike. It really was. Flush seemed to knock him out on the way down, as we mentioned. After the fight, you got it. Not only the in-cage call out of the somehow still ranked Colby Covington, but you got a little force put behind that, a little spice sprinkled on top. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the call to our friends over at Cuervo for some shots fired. Of course, you already knew shots fired brought to you by Cuervo. Now is a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila. Here is Gabriel Bonfim at the post-fight press conference explaining why he not only wants Colby Covington next, he wants to put him out of the business for good.
Saw the Colby Covington call. It's a great call out, man. So what about that call really? What about Colby, made you really want to call him out, and obviously you wanting to fight him?
Ouvimos você chamar o Colby Covington. Por que você queria lutar com ele e o que você chamar o nome dele?
É o único cara que está praticamente disponível entre o ranking e é um cara que está travando a categoria. Acho que ele deve se aposentar.
He's the one that's holding up the weight class. He's the one not fighting, holding up. He's ranked. He's holding up the weight class, and I need to be the one to retire him.
And would you say there's a little bit of added motivation from what he said about Brazil a couple of years ago?
Tu acha que alguma motivação extra pelas merda que ele falou do Brasil alguns anos atrás?
Exatamente, ele merece corretivo.
Absolutely, he needs to be corrected, and I will do that.
Covington, of course, is 37 years old, hasn't fought in what is approaching a year, and has lost 5 of his last 7, although he continues to be ranked number 10 right now in this division. Not everyone loved this call out, however. Let's bring in friend of the program, Aaron Bronstetter, who hit to Twitter afterwards and said, calling out Colby Covington in 2025 is like calling out Terrence Crawford for a boxing match. Wasted mic time. Luke, do you agree with AB's take right here?
I don't understand the comparison. Okay. So what he's saying is calling out Crawford is a waste of time, not because Colby and Crawford are situated in similar ways within their respective sports,
right.
But that it's going to elicit the same kind of non-committal response, or no response at all. There's probably some truth to that. Although I actually feel like, what is my level of interest in Bonfim versus Colby? I wouldn't say it's particularly high, but BC, if you're Bonfim and you see that, we have to back up a second here. Why is Colby Covington still ranked? This is insane to me. This is like the most outrageous, ridiculous, what is happening here kind of moment. So if you're a Bonfim and you see that there's this kind of weirdness in the rankings market, and you just had a nice win, which we could all say no matter what, it was a very nice win. Why wouldn't you call him out? It may yield nothing. I understand that. Like a Colby might look at that and say, Bonfim, who cares? But if I'm Bonfim, I'm at what is the easiest fight he can get in that division in the top 10? I realize that, well, you could just say the 10th ranked guy in this case. But even if the rankings were shuffled a little bit more, I would still point to Colby in that position.
It's a brilliant call. Actually, I disagree with AB. And the biggest reason why for me is, first of all, he explained it. Get a guy out of the rankings that A, nobody likes, B, that shouldn't be in there. And why is he in there? You could always argue because he's the perfect villain B-side for somebody on the way up. He's a gatekeeper at this point. Also, some people argue that when you get paid a lot of money, and Colby certainly does, they'll keep you in the top 10 to justify paying you that much to put you in fights where you can do what I said, put over the younger fighters. But the biggest reason I agree with this call out at this exact moment is because this Saturday at UFC 322, we have 3 welterweight fights on the main card, all of which affect the top 10 of the rankings, including a must-see title fight. So the point of that being there's not going to be a bunch of immediately available ranked fighters. Why don't you pick out the type of name that will draw some crossover interest, that'll put your name over by getting the rub against them? What casual MMA fan has heard is Gabriel Bonfim right now? Yet he's riding a 4-fight win streak and has now some consecutive victories over some decent names. To me, that's the perfect way. You beat an old guy, you get the rub, then you catapult in there to the type of, mid top 10 opponent that can take you literally into the title picture. So I had no problem with it. Some of that for me too is that I also just want Colby out of these rankings. It's just ridiculous. Long Island, Luke, you've been speaking in our private chat. Why don't you just say it to these people's faces?
Well, everyone's wondering why Colby's still number 10. He lost a title fight to Leon Edwards, who's still ranked number 4, and he lost to Joaquin Buckley last December, who's ranked number 7. I'm not saying he deserves that spot, but he has fought within a year, and he lost to 2 top 10 guys. It's not like he's losing to scrubs.
Yeah, but he hasn't beat a top 15 guy.
Sure, Masvidal was his last win. You're right, but
he's not doing compare his record of activity and achievement to literally anyone around him it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying, well, I guess I am, but I'm not
A
saying
little bit.
I'm not personally justifying it. I'm just saying I see why he's still ranked, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, dude, I would love to be ranked off of just fucking losing. That'd be sick,
Yeah. Brian Ortega gets that a lot, unfortunately, as well. They love leaving these veterans in there. Although I guess I can kind of understand the strategy connected to that right there. We do have some words here post-fight from Gabriel Bonfim about his performance and how he is progressing and evolving.
Tô muito feliz com tudo isso.
I feel great. The main event, a great performance, a great finish. Let's go to the next one.
Eu sou cara da trocação. Minha essência é a trocação.
My striking is my game. My essence from striking, my background's from striking, and I believe in the game plan. I follow my strategy, and it happened. I knocked him out.
Foi bem tranquilo.
Nothing different to me. I prepared for this. I trained for the main event. I was visualizing the main event, so I trained for it. I was prepared for it. There was really no difference. I felt great. I don't care what he thinks, guys. I said I believe I'm a guy I like trading. I'm a striker. I proved with Josh Thompson. Now I proved with Randy Brown, and I'm here to keep getting better and bring the next guy.
Cada luta que passa, eu tenho aprendizado novo.
I believe every fight's a learning tool for me, even the wins and the losses. The loss with Dalby put me on different level. I knew that I had to level up, and that's what I think. I level up every time. Every fight, I get better, and every fight I evolve and I grow so I can come better the next fight.
Eu acredito que vem top 10 aí.
Well, I believe I deserve a top 10. I really have been fighting around to deserve top 10, but we'll see what they do. I'll keep doing what I'm doing and getting better and waiting for a name.
Love that he called Wonderboy Josh Thompson there. By the way, a little slip of the tongue for the only man to finish Nate Diaz via head kick. Luke, to close on the Bonfim discussion, if he doesn't get Colby but does get an additional top 10 opponent, wouldn't Joaquin Buckley be the perfect fight coming off a loss to Usman, which snapped a 6-fight win streak? That would kind of be the perfect next step. Let's see what you got about against that style. Do you disagree?
I mean, honestly, I don't know what the promotion wants for Bonfim, which really is maybe the most important consideration here. But dude, do you pick him over number 11 Gilbert Burns?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Long Island, would you pick him over Burns?
I'd have to see the odds, but I will say Gilbert has kind of let me down a lot in his last.
I mean, he's definitely. He's almost 40 for crying out loud. Like it's he's long. I don't know. I would need to see it. Jeff Neal's also sitting at 12. Like I don't know, man. I would want to see. I mean, Buckley is sitting at 7.
Yeah, Jeff Neal's a tough fight for him. I'd fully agree.
Yeah, but, maybe Jeff Neal, and then we'll go from there.
Our boy Gilberto has lost 4 in a row and has been stopped in 2 of those, Luke. So it's like, I love Gilbert Burns. The dude's 39 and
yeah, he's old. I mean, he's on. I mean, literally, he's on his second professional career. The first one was in jiu-jitsu. So
just don't judge Gabriel by what his bro's been doing, which is
clearly of the Bonfim brothers, Gabriel is the one that's got some upside. We can at least agree on that for sure.
It's good old Ismail turning into Lance Evans over there. Shout out to that guy. All right, let's go to topic number 2 right now. It is the UFC Apex undercard. Highlighted here by the co-main event. How about flyweight Joseph Bopo Morales making quick work of veteran Matt Schnell in a first-round submission win, improving to 2-0 in his second stint with the UFC, and the tough season 33 winner pretty much made it look easy from start to finish for as long as it lasted, and it didn't last that long. Bopo went on to say, quote, that he matches up great with current flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja. How much of a threat do you believe the 31-year-old Morales is appearing to be, Luke, now that he's riding a 5-fight win streak and seems to be very comfortable here in his second stint in the octagon?
Yeah, I got to say, this was a nice win. The way he was able to capture the crucifix, the way he was able to finish BC, like on the finish, he knew which way. I mean, you understand, like when you work crucifix positions like that, you begin to troubleshoot what the escapes tend to look like or the resistance to it. And what you can tell from that is he is so well versed from that position that he knows what their opponents are going to do and which way they're going to roll. So he allows him to come to his base so that he can lock up the guillotine choke. Dude, that was real slick. That was real slick. The guy wins the Ultimate Fighter on a split decision, but then to the point you raise, comes out here and he's got back-to-back submissions in 2 fights, but both from this year. I thought this was very impressive. Again, these Apex cards with guys who are outside traditional rankings placement makes it a little hard to know what it means for the future and what it does for their placement. But I can just say that was Matt Schnell is a experienced opponent who's beaten some good guys for sure. The only issue for me is he's kind of flirted with retirement than unflirted with it. So that, always creates a question in my mind about, if you're going to get the best version of themselves. But nevertheless, he is still a good opponent, a credentialed one. And Morales kind of ran the table on him. That was very, very impressive for me.
Yeah, Long Island Luke and I wanted to correct you quickly and just saying Morales in the semifinal of Tough by split decision.
Excuse me. I apologize.
The final, right, which counted as an official UFC fight, was the stoppage.
That was the fair enough.
Yeah, very good performance out of there. But I do have to ask you this, Luke. He was very confident. He, by the way, challenged the UFC in the post-fight interview to bring the promotion back to Sacramento, which had me questioning, like, oh yeah, he's right. We don't see them there in that MMA hotbed often. Is that because Strikeforce had put their flag down there so aggressively, Luke, or not?
I mean, I feel like Strikeforce is more of a Bay Area promotion. Scott Coker was a season ticket holder for the Warriors.
No way, dude. He was Sacramento. That's they lived and died in Sacramento for a while.
They lived and died in San Jose.
Oh, you're right. I'm confusing Sacramento and San Jose. Like, yeah,
I often do. They were. He was ride or die for San Jose. I went to the Tito Ortiz.
Fair.
Who was the Bellator light heavyweight, the tall, lanky one that he beat? Liam McGeary, I think was his name.
Yes, that's right.
I went to that one in San Jose, and there was posters, or not posters, I should say, advertisements all over town for it.
Yeah, my fault on the Sacramento screw up there. The UFC was last in Sacramento, according to Long Island Luke, in July of 2019. Jermaine Durandamy, that quick finish of Aspen Ladd in the main event right there. All right. Luke, real quick to close on Morales here. He appealed to the kids with this 6'7" celebration. Did that turn you off at all? And what do you think of his inventive chest here, just having the vagine in the middle of his pecs there covered, but nothing else? It's kind of like Kimbo, who, really revolutionized different chest hair designs.
People, this is Brian Ebersol erasure. You guys don't remember Brian Ebersol, but he actually was the first one to do arrows, I think. Maybe he did it after Kimbo. I can't quite recall, but he was doing a lot of different inventive stuff. The 6'7" thing is what my daughter does. So, just for clarification, it would have popped with that audience. So,
all right. Yeah. Let's keep it going down here. Let's go to the welterweight division. Uros Medic admitted post-fight that he was, quote, super scared of Muslim Salikov, yet delivered a 63-second KO. Has the doctor become a 170er worth watching, or do you believe he's still in feast or famine mode where he wins by KO and then gets KO'd in the next fight?
I thought this was a nice win. He just marched him down, dude. He marched him down and had him backed up against the fence or pretty close to it, and then landed a big overhand, sat him down, then finished him off. Dude, this was real good from Uros Medic. I love this performance from him. And I love the call out too. It didn't work because he didn't get the bonus, but he was like, how am I not getting bonuses? You just look at my fights, and one way or the other, these Bamas are not going to decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a deliverer of action. And in this particular case, I thought he had a great argument for it. Again, hard to know what it means exactly about, where the returning corners, but he put 2 wins together. He's got 3 out of his last 4. Let's see if he can keep winning as he escalates. That's always the most important thing, yeah?
Speaking of bonuses that never came, Chris Taco Padilla used the entirety of his post-fight interview to literally beg the UFC for the $50K bonus, saying it would allow him to move his mom out of a trailer park. What was ultimately more sad in your eyes, the fact that he put on that performance, literally begged for it, and did not get the 50K, or the fact that his opponent, Ismael Bonfim, missed weight by 5 rounds and then completely gassed out in round 2 in
5 pounds
stoppage loss?
5 pounds. You said 5
pounds,
rounds. 5 pounds. I thought Chris Padilla, Taco, looked really, really good here. As you indicated, his record is starting to look a lot more impressive. So he's never lost in UFC as the LX5. He has no losses in UFC. He made his debut back in April of 2024. As we indicated on Friday, the Jai Herbert win was nice, but I didn't see necessarily, he beat Rong Zhu and James Yontop. These are fine wins as a starter pack kind of operation, but you didn't really know what it means. But as you indicated, short notice, opponent misses, comes in here and just forcefully puts it on him. I mean, I don't know what's not to love. I think it's been pretty instructive. Oh, by the way, Long Island Lucas saying Chris Padilla has been a dog in all 4 of his UFC fights and is 4-0.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. This is exactly the kind of underdog story you want. This thing is, apparently there's belief. Again, I don't know if there's an official UFC policy, but there's some kind of belief that if the fighters beg for bonuses in post-fight, they won't get money. And obviously that there appears to be, if not a written rule, some kind of informal adherence to that. I would say a couple of things. I mean, first, I think it's kind of instructive that the UFC's response to fighters begging for money is penalization and not better pay. I think people should take a little moment to sit with that. And the other one I would say here is, BC, like, whatever your view on fighter pay is, I hope everyone understands it. At nothing, and I do mean nothing, will change unless they are forced to change.
Yes.
Unless there is a court order, and like, for example, with the not antitrust, but the class action lawsuit, like, unless there's that kind of mechanism or a law is passed or something, unless the force of law is brought to the table as a way to remedy pay disputes or pay shortages, whatever you would like to describe it, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I hope everyone is at least understanding of that basic fact.
I mean, if you can't get it from the organization, you might as well get it from the guy with the trench coat in the alley outside the Apex who's offering you $70K to throw the fight. Long Island, look, let me read to you the 4 people who received $50K bonuses on Saturday, and you tell me if they deserved it more than Taco. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready, yes.
Gabriel Bonfim.
Yes.
CLD.
Yes.
Yes.
Josh Hokett.
No.
No, because his opponent sucked, and he's like beats everyone by finish. But it was a nice knockout. He folded.
He looked fine, but Padilla really looked good.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how about the curtain jerkers? Zach Reese, who in a catchweight fight
Absolutely not
submitted Jackson McVeigh. So it seems like maybe they did hold it against him for calling them out, right?
What are they factoring in here? Because Zach Reese got his ass beat in the first round. He was an underdog going into round 2, came back and won. He was a huge favorite to start that fight, by the way. So, like, are they like, oh, he showed resilience, he came back and won? Like, Chris Padilla accepted his opponent missing weight by 5 pounds, still took the fight and finished.
That's what I'm saying.
And still, that's bullshit, man.
I thought it was pretty sad he didn't get it. I also didn't like that he had to beg that aggressively for it. He had a post-fight press conference talk where he was crying, talking about his mom. And I mean, I get it from the organization. You can't bully them into a corner, but it continues to show the disparity in the sport and the fact that guys like Taco Padilla, who are trying to become legitimate contenders, sometimes can't even afford the training camps necessary to be in a position to do that. It just
can we just sort of back up here? I mean, there was obviously no betting discrepancies this week, which was great to see. I'm very happy. No weird refereeing. Again, you can debate about the Mark Smith stoppage in the main event, but it didn't appear weird to me, no matter what position you come to. It seemed to me like one of those sort of standard MMA cases. But there was a suggestion last week. Again, there's just people in this sport who are absolutely immune to evidence, and there's nothing you can say to them about fighter pay that will really get them to budge. But I'm going to say, one, I think the worm is turning a little bit on this. I'm beginning to see more fans sort of recognize these limits that exist for a company that is flush with cash probably shouldn't be as egregious as they are. But more to the point, BC, we were talking about this last week, which is people make this argument about folks who throw fights as like, oh, this is one of integrity. And yeah, obviously integrity is, if not the most important component, certainly chief among them. Right? I mean, yes, if you're willing to engage in criminal behavior, then this speaks to something about your character. However, the point to be made here is people who are in financial distress or people who can be financially leveraged are clearly much more likely to engage in that kind of behavior. And you can see that this class of fighter, good enough to make it and win at the UFC, but not good enough to make a lot of money, you can see why they would be vulnerable to as prey to the betting predators, so to speak, whoever they may be, and why this particular subgroup of fighter is being targeted. It's really not very difficult to see that. They're ripe for the picking, given the financial limitations that they face day in, day out.
I would agree with you on that one. Speaking of CLD, the middleweight Christian Leroy Duncan won his 3rd straight fight, including his 2nd consecutive spinny shit KO by brutally ending Marco Tulio. First, we do have cage side fan footage of the stoppage. If you want to talk about, some people thought it came too late, thinking that Tulio took too much of a beating. But Luke, will you say this as you watch it? is it time at the very least for CLD to get a Wikipedia page? Is he coming on
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. CLD looked real good. This was a real nice win. I like this one from him. He really put it on him. He was clever. He was physical. You know, he had Tulio kind of on his heels, or at a bare minimum, thinking a lot about what he wanted to do. And the guy was, you know, he was laying heavy lumber to him. So I really like this fight. And this performance in particular. Again, some of these guys on these cards, man, they're quietly putting together, if not the most impressive runs you've ever seen, but maybe not that, but real redemptive, real important, you know, in the trenches kind of work in their career, and it deserves to be more broadly recognized.
Hey, speaking of trenches and speaking of redemption, how about 38-year-old Ione Barcelos?
I couldn't believe this one.
Yes, who co-delivered with Ricky Simone an absolute bantamweight banger over 3 rounds, which featured high technical and defensive skills and just a ton of accurate output. But in the end, Barcelos winning a close decision to extend that current win streak to 4. So much so that he's going to get some sound on this show right now talking about it.
Eu tô muito feliz.
I feel great. I literally closed the year with a golden key. I have 3 wins in this year. So showing everybody that I'm ready for a top contender, a ranked fighter, and I'm ready for that.
Eu acho que minha maturidade.
I think what differentiates me is experience. I have a lot of experience. And these guys come in and I'm ready to fight them. Here's the deal. I'm like wine. I think the older I get, the better I get, the more experience I get. So I feel like that my experience is making a big difference in these wins versus these guys. And I'm just getting more experience. So I'm just going to keep getting better.
Tinha jogo.
Ricky has a style very similar to mine. So I know he's going to come high pace with the wrestling, with the boxing. But we studied it a lot. So I focused on my boxing. As you can see, I used my boxing bomb, my takedown defense. I did get some takedowns and he got back up on the feet. But that was my strategy, to use my boxing better. It worked for me.
Então, já.
I feel great, so I would like to keep it going. I don't want to stop, so I'll be ready to fight probably March, January next year. I'm proving to everybody that I'm going to stay in shape. I'm ready to go. Like wine, I just keep getting better with age, and I'm ready for 2026 to do the same thing I did this year.
Luke, in theory, this shouldn't have happened, yet he had a beautiful body punch attack. That right uppercut was on the money. How impressed were you overall with the fact that he seems to be getting better with age?
I couldn't believe it. I thought this was where the buck was going to stop. And, you know, I'm not saying there's a scorecard for Simone, but what did you have it as? The 3rd round being the swing round? That's how I kind of saw it.
It was 29-28 on all 3 scorecards, and I agree with that. Give him 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Barcelos, I gave him 2 and 3, I thought.
2 and 3, that's right. I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right. So, to me, man, I was so impressed, as you indicated. Like, dude, he just seems a lot more buttoned up. They're just the pieces of the game connect more easily. He's not as frustrated by a failed attack. He can reconstitute attack much easier than he did before. Again, he seems much more defensively aware. I'm amazed by his cardio, but I can't believe this guy is peaking near 40, but by God, that's exactly what he's doing. He's earned a big fight here, and BC, I would argue, on a much bigger card, and certainly a much better placement on a much bigger card. You don't see old guys out there, you know, providing a ton of value like this. Good for him. And again, how far can he take it? I thought it was going to stop on Saturday, but he's off to the races. Let's see how far he can push it.
I love it. I'm all in on this story. This is fun, and he's getting better, like we say every time. Luke, the next topic probably should be a talk about Jacqueline Cavalcanti improving to 10-1 and 5-0 in the UFC as maybe a legitimate women's bantamweight contender. But it's hard not to lead with the Mayra Bueno Silva part of it. She fought for a vacant UFC title last year, January of 2024. And since then, she's winless in 5 with 4 consecutive defeats. Don't forget, by the way, she gassed out in that Rocky Pennington title fight in round 2, which was super disappointing. And on Saturday against Cavalcanti, she was lifeless. She refused to cut down the distance. She got beat up from the outside. She didn't seem to have a strong gas tank for the 3 rounds. And this was after all but guaranteeing a stoppage win and saying the very best of her was about to come. Luke, at age 34, forget about the very best of her. Is this the last of her? In probably a fall off that I can really only compare to Renan Barão, although he had achieved much more. He was an interim and then full champion and pound for pound ranked. But I cannot remember somebody falling off this aggressively from legitimate title contention to full on lifelessness.
Yeah, and again, it's not like she had the one stoppage, as you indicated, via cut to Macy Chiasson. Chazon?
Chazon, yes.
Chazon. I'm teasing. But in other words, is still kind of hanging on. But BC, I don't know how you felt. I thought she looked lifeless. I thought she looked kind of out of ideas. I thought she kind of looked like, I'm not saying she was ever a physical bruiser. That's not quite true, but she didn't have much of that either. I don't know. I don't know if she's had problems with weight cuts, BC, and it's really messed her up. You know, maybe she made the weight, but it messed her up. I don't know. But to your
there was
point,
that situation in Saudi where women weren't allowed in the sauna, so they had to dress her up like a man to be able to have a chance at cutting weight for that one.
Yeah, that's
fight.
a little different. That's a little different. But the point I'm trying to make is she might be done. She might be done. I've seen redemption stories. I've seen people turn it around. 34, she shouldn't be that far out of her prime. But the way she's looking, it's not just that she's losing to good opponents, which would be one thing. She's losing to good opponents in what are otherwise deteriorating and lifeless performances. And that's the part that I'm like, it's not like, dude, imagine she would lost the first 2 rounds because she got battered, but then would surge in the third or something like that. But that's really not what you're seeing. You're not seeing someone who can rally. You're not seeing someone who can sustain an attack, for crying out loud. You're seeing someone who's got some ability, but it's just powered by an engine and I think a fire more broadly that appears to be missing.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Cavalcante in a dead division. She's on a nice little run. We'll see if she continue it, but I don't even feel like she looked great. And Dominic Cruz was kind of ripping both fighters for not stepping on the gas and closing the distance, and I think he was right. Luke, former NFL player who had a brief run there, and former regional MAGA post-fight screamer Josh Hokett had a very successful heavyweight debut here in the UFC, making quick work of a fellow debutant in what was the guy's name? Jimenez?
Yeah, Jimenez.
You got to say, look, fast hands, power, athleticism. I didn't love the post-fight, copy and paste Chael Sonnen rap, but what do you think about Josh Hokett's upside in this division?
Again, he wrestled at the collegiate level. He appears to be a good athlete. He is a good athlete who's relatively young in a division where youth and good athleticism is in short supply. I don't know what the win means. I didn't think he deserved to get the bonus relative to the other folks on this card who I thought performed in better and in more difficult circumstances, but whatever. You get the idea. It was a nice win. He should go far, but I don't know what it means. Like Greg Hardy looked good on the Contender Series, and then before everything really fell apart, you were like, oh wow, this guy could be a great thing. But we need to see. So nice win. Doesn't mean much.
Well, he called out the explosive Walter Walker after the fight. And even though Walker would go on to delete this post, here was his initial reaction. And now I can't read it without my glasses. Luke, I'm old. Can you read that?
Josh Hokett, I want you next. I'm going to kick your head like a soccer ball and force you to respect Brazil and our culture, you POS.
All right. There you go. You down for that fight or not? Nah?
It's an interesting fight because Walter Walker is a little bit unknown as a kind of I realize that we've seen him a bunch, but he just keeps doing the same bit. That shouldn't work against an athlete like Hokett. And if it doesn't, what else is there? So there's some intriguing elements to that fight, sure.
All right, that was the UFC Apex card this weekend. We do have a loaded show. We've got to continue. And let me tell you something right now, though. From the bright lights of New York City and straight to your living room, the Octagon, of course, taking center stage at V-Chain UFC 322 this Saturday. And this time, it's not just the fighters going for the win. You, MMA viewer and MK superfan, can cash out big with Pick 6, DraftKings' newest sports game. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more fighter stats. You want total takedowns, total strikes landed. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. Pick 6 gives you more upside, than any of the other pick'em sites, and it's available in most states, including Texas, California, Georgia, Missouri, and more. We need you to download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now. Use our code COMBAT with a K. That's KOMBAT. And new DraftKings customers play just $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. In Connecticut, must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as a non-withdrawable Pick Six credit that expires in 14 days. Ends December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. That's pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Excuse me for that hiccup there. Let's go to topic number 3, and it is what you thought. UFC 322 is upon us. But before we get to the pregame preview, we do want to look at the larger storyline circling in the abyss here ahead of this card at the world's most famous arena, New York's Madison Square Garden. And this road to UFC 322 is brought to you by Total Wireless, the official wireless provider of UFC. Get unlimited data that won't slow you down. LT, we've got a loaded card, at least for 2025 standards. So from Islam Makhachev's pursuit of immortality as a potential 2-division champion and UFC co-record holder for consecutive wins, to the biggest and most important women's bout, at least one of them in MMA history, Saturday's loaded card is filled with many things to talk about. What is the one element of this card that either intrigues or excites you the most as we head into Saturday?
I think that it's both a showcase of this, and depending on the results, it could make the argument ironclad, which is that there's a great argument to be made, BC, that welterweight is the best division in the sport right now. And there were times in the past where that was the case, certainly, but there were times where it wasn't. It kind of fluctuated and was lost for a while, particularly as bantamweight surged, as lightweight surged. And I think most people have been historically, at least in the last few years, kind of considering 135 or 155 the best. At times, some of the top stuff going on at 145 with Volk and Max and Ilya Topuria maybe undid some of that. But BC, just look at 170 right now. You've got 3 fights just on the main card about 170, the main event itself. And then, of course, Sean Brady versus Michael Morales, which could be a number 1 contender fight. Then you've also got Leon Edwards, former champ, taking on Carlos Prates. Leon needs a win real badly. We're moving maybe the most important division and maybe the best division forward in a huge way to get some answers. But what it really shows you is all the names that are not on this list that are still actually quite relevant as well. Perhaps a chief among them, Ian Gabriel, who I know has a fight coming up against Bilal. There's also Shavkat Rakhmonov sitting out there. What is it going to mean if Islam wins and now you add him as like a permanent fixture, or at least a semi-permanent fixture in this division? To me, there's this big argument all the time. What's the best division in the sport? You can make it now already, but I think after Saturday, it's going to be very, very clear. 170 is the division of kings, and we're in for a great 2026 if these guys can stay healthy and stay active.
I'm glad you said that. That was going to be my number 1 answer about sorting out the deepest division, top 1 through 15, with 3 fights we need to see here on the main card, obviously including that championship bout in the main event where Jack Della Maddalena will be a plus 220 underdog, according to DraftKings, against the minus 270 Islam Makhachev. But just the fact that in this era where maybe cards aren't as strong historically, they didn't water down MSG. It still feels like a major. And from the recent weeks, I got to bring up this graphic that our friends at MMA On Point put out there, Luke. If you take RDR versus Allen, which was a replacement main event that had a kind of weird and lame turnout, which was the ass of this horse, then we had UFC 321, which had some meat on it. But then you had the rib showing for the last 2 fight night cards. How about that golden stallion that is 322 on Saturday? So many fights worth talking about and fighters. And Luke, when we talk about that main event, we all want to see what Islam will look like at 170 inside the cage. Well, here's what he will physically look like. Yo, this mother effer is jacked, LT.
Yeah, I mean, he's not cutting a bunch of weight this time, huh? You can see a more, normal, so to speak, looking Islam. Telling you, man, I just can't wait for Saturday. I just can't wait.
Fight. It's such a good fight. I love the storyline. 2-division champion. I mean, Luke, is it? No, I'll save a lot of these talks for pregame. I want to ask you also about the impact of JDM having Volk and Craig Jones in his corner. I've got a little bit of sound here of JDM talking to the New York Post exactly about this.
Your opponent coming up in Islam Makhachev, he does his best when he's able to get the fight down. You've worked with Craig Jones, of course, famously in terms of improving in that area and that kind of thing. Where does his impact kind of help you the most when you're preparing for an opponent like both of these guys?
I mean, yeah, he just instills confidence. He doesn't try and change too much, you know. He sort of looks at my style and then sees what will work, and then we sort of just, he doesn't try to change too much, just sort of a little small changes, small ideas that will work, but we feel like we've got another good game plan. I feel like we've got some good tricks. Obviously, Islam's very good on the floor, a good finisher, definitely probably a better finisher than Bilal, no doubt. So, but I feel like I can, again, shock the world in the grappling department, keep it on the feet, and get the win.
Luke, is it a bigger unknown whether JDM can handle the grappling of Islam or whether Islam can get the better of him on the feet in this matchup?
The first. Could Islam get the better of him on the feet? Of course. I mean, they're wearing small gloves. There's a lot of things moving different directions. It's MMA. It's wild. It's chaotic. Absolutely. But really, it comes down to Islam being able to mix the game up. Can he or can't he? And if he can, to what extent and where, and what does it yield? That's where this fight is won and lost. That is where everything happens. Because if it's just straight up, if I told you Islam can't get him down and can't hold him for any meaningful time against the fence, that would make the pick relatively easy. You would just pick JDM. But we don't know if that's the case, and we don't know to what extent it will be the case, even if it's at least somewhat true. That is the main focus of this fight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Let's go to some fun sound here from Craig Jones talking about this relationship.
Last time I trained with Della would have been doing some seminars in Perth. So we had a relationship for a bit of time, but really I was just a fan. And I keep saying this, I've stolen a lot of moves from him, but I think he smokes so many bonks that he forgets that those are his moves, and I got to reteach them back to him and take full credit for it.
Hilarious stuff right there. Love that. That was, by the way, Craig Jones being interviewed by friend of the program, Al Wendling over there, who's a part, of course, the CGI broadcast, does a lot of great work in the BJJ world. We can't forget about how great this co-main event is that has been a pick'em for most of the week, a literal pick'em. Right now, the odds on this women's flyweight championship bout: Valentina Shevchenko -125, Zhang Weili +105. Hey, Long Island, look, play this picture. Speaking, we're talking about Islam getting jacked in his new weight class. How about Weili with this video? She's ready for 125. Not having to cut down to 115. LIL, when I look at this matchup storyline wise, I look mostly at the history involved here. The fact that it's two of the most accomplished fighters in female, MMA history facing off against one another with so much at stake, 2 division championship opportunity for Weili. And I go, okay, maybe it's not a fight that's as historically relevant as Cyborg versus Nunes. And maybe it's not as pioneering as Cyborg Carano or as big as some of the Rousey matchups, but it has so many other things going for it. And I wonder if you agree with me on this. I was talking to CBS's Brent Brookhouse as we were sort of framing this fight, and he came up with a great point. As great as Valentina and Weili are, you could argue that both lack that one singular Hall of Fame win in their career. Maybe you can say it's Weili out brawling Joanna to defend the title there. But Valentina, for as great as she is, and by the way, if she wins on Saturday, she'll tie Amanda Nunes for the most title fight wins in women's UFC MMA history there. I almost feel like this is sort of the defining fight in some ways of both of their careers. Is that crazy, or are you with me on that?
I never once thought of it like that, but that is actually a great point. Because, what is Val's best win? We're not talking performance. You could say, Jessica Ai is her best performance, but, it's obviously not her best win. Is it also Joanna? Is it Holly Holm, Juliana Pena? I don't know.
No, it's a great point. It's like she came into 125, Val, when it was kind of empty. It has reloaded. I give her a lot of credit for the second and third wins over Grasso. I said second because she got screwed on that draw. And then the Farrell win I thought was great. But where is that one definitive one? This would certainly be that in some ways for Val, although Val did beat Joanna as well as Weili. but I don't know. It's interesting. It's going to be a great fight. I'm fired up. Long Island, do you have any storyline associated to Saturday that you're most juiced about?
I'm looking at this Leon Edwards Carlos Prates fight, dude. I feel like Leon Edwards, the odds are what's sticking out to me. He's like plus 170. And I was on Submission Radio yesterday, and I was talking about how, like, even in Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal, I was big on Jeff Neal in that fight. And you already know I said Ian Gary was going to run through it. You know, like I'm not a hater of Carlos Prates. I actually really like the guy. I just feel like I'm a doubter of his skills. And I feel like someone like Leon Edwards, who's lost 2 in a row, could probably use a win here. He's lost to the number 1 contender, number 2 contender. Not bad losses at all. This is going to be a big fight for either guy. Whoever wins, it's intriguing because it's like, oh shit, Prates is for real, or it's like, oh shit, Leon still in the top 5, still kind of has it. So
agreed. Prates minus 198 favorite over the plus 164 Edwards, and you can't sleep on Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Holy crap, minus 142 Brady, the slight favorite over the plus 120 Morales. A lot more on UFC 322 coming to you from MK on Thursday. But this podcast right here, right now, sponsored by Total Wireless, the official wireless partner of UFC. And when you're streaming the fight, when you're about to send those takedown highlights to your broskies, I'll tell you what you need: a wireless provider that will keep you close to the action. With Total Wireless, you're covered by the Verizon 5G network, so you don't have to worry about your connection going down or knocked out at the biggest moments. And although it's not something we normally say, hey, yo, my wireless provider is like a Trevor Whitman in my corner. The thing is, with Total Wireless, that's exactly what they are. They make sure that they're with you every second of the day, so you never miss a thing, keeping you covered for just $25 a month with 4 lines, and that's not sacrificing anything important like speed. With Total, you're getting the unlimited 5G data, so you can stay ahead of the action and keep up with every finish coming your way. Total Wireless also understands the punches you don't see coming, those are the ones that are going to hurt you. That's why the price is guaranteed for 5 years, taxes and fees included. The best fighters don't make it to the octagon alone. They got that all in support along the way. It shouldn't be any different for you. So visit TotalWireless.com or visit your local Total Wireless store to learn more about what Total Wireless can do in your corner. 5G access requires a 5G capable device on a 5G service area. Monthly rate on the Total Base 5G Unlimited plan for new subscribers applies to the monthly rate for your plan. Additional terms apply. See the website for more details. All right, let's go back in here. Topic number 4. It was in the box over the weekend. We finally had a fight worth talking about. It didn't last that long as unbeaten Virgil Ortiz Jr. ran through Erickson Lubin en route to a brutal second-round TKO as the hype instantly turned toward a fight against Jaron Boots Ennis, a fellow unbeaten junior middleweight that would, in some ways, be for the uncrowned championship, as neither are current title holders, but are sort of loosely considered the best 2 in the division right there. Luke Thomas, I know how pumped you would be for Virgil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis. I want to know how pumped when you look ahead to 2026 in boxing, knowing we're going to get fights like Teofimo versus Shakur. Where would a Virgil Ortiz Boots Ennis fight rank among the most anticipated for you?
Can I ask one quick question of qualification? Is the fight for late January between Shakur and Teo signed and done?
The report is that it's like 9/10 of the way there for January 31st at Madison Square Garden. It has not been announced.
Just in fairness to that fight, that would be pretty big. Now, I don't know how big it would be as a blockbuster event, but in terms of a big fight taking place stateside for... What would that fight be at? 135, 140?
That fight would be at 140, yes, for Teofimo's belt.
Yeah, 140. That would be tremendous. But BC, I just got to say, it feels to me, like reading the tea leaves, that this potential fight between Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, it's arguably the best fight you can make in boxing within a single division. It's arguably that. And I would say that the buzz that I read on Saturday night and just seeing what people were saying, it might also be the most anticipated. Now, again, there could be bigger fights you could cook up. I suspect, for example, that if we get Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua in 2026 at, I'll make something up, Wembley in the UK, that would be a pretty significant boxing event.
You get me Benavidez better, BF, I might turn down all other fights, but this one's
fair
up
enough.
there, dude.
But this one, yeah, dude, Ortiz, just to wrap it up, Ortiz versus Boots is, if not the most anticipated fight in 2026, on the very short list, and for great reasons. We want to see a breakout star in BC. I really, really hope, can I just say as a small note, I really hope they put this fight stateside. I'll take it no matter what, like any other boxing fan would. But I feel like the American market really needs something like this, and I honestly feel like it could be a big spark if it's handled the right way and promoted the right way.
I fully agree with you here. Both promoters of the two fighters, Golden Boy representing Virgil Ortiz, Matchroom representing Boots Ennis, are on DAZN. It seems like an easy one to make, although there's some hurdles that have come out since Saturday. We'll talk about that in a second. First, I do want to talk about the finish. Luke, I expected a lot more of Erickson Lubin in this fight, even though his kryptonite could be his chin. Here's a ringside view of the finish. Lubin had been hurt by a left hand. He was lingering far too long on the ropes. There's a super slow-mo version of this replay where you could see he just brutally finishes Lubin with a left hook. All in all, I kind of wanted to see more resistance in this one, but I can't take away with what Virgil Ortiz did.
I mean, I wrote this, BC, and I maybe you might disagree with the characterization. To me, Lubin was a flaw. We said this on Friday, I believe, a flawed opponent, but a quality one. And the issue was, he'd been obviously stopped by Charlo, right? That was one issue. The other issue was, for example, in the Fundora fight, he just kind of swole up like he got stung by a bee. I'm not so sure that he has chin issues, BC, as much as I feel like there's a distinction between having chin issues and then general durability problems. I actually feel like they're very aligned, but somewhat different. And
Would
I felt,
you say
to me,
Dustin Poirier is a little chinny, but insanely durable?
yes, something like that. Or you can be, not really chinny at all, but have, bad durability to the body. Right? That can be a thing too. So I feel like Lubin was a little bit more the latter, but the point I'm trying to make is Ortiz, Lubin is not a joke. Whatever else you want to say about him, he's not a joke. I didn't really like that Mora was like, oh, he's a shot fighter, like right after he gets beat. I thought that was a little bit much, but I thought he was a quality opponent and he got mowed through. It indicates both the potential of Ortiz, who, by the way, he didn't finish Israel Madrimov, BC, but he beat up Madrimov real good. He had him very disciplined in that long fight card that they were on. And I thought that was one of his better performances, even if it didn't yield a stoppage. And clearly what it also indicates, BC, is if you don't put a good top class opponent in front of him, in front of Ortiz, dude, he's just going to mow right through him on just a basic level of getting the most out of him. He needs an opponent like Bud, to say nothing else of that it has to be next or that the sport wants it or any of the other considerations. So I really thought, did you learn a lot about Ortiz? Only in the sense that it's time for the bullshit to stop. We got to put this guy in front of a real killer and see what happens.
Yeah, right after the fight, they brought in Eddie Hearn and Jerron Boots Ennis for a face-off, and it got my blood boiling there. The quote there from Virgil Ortiz is, "We're ready for the best. We want to fight the best. Boots, come over here." He did. They took this pick. You want to hear what Boots thought about it? Fight Hub TV caught up with him ringside.
I think Lubin was kind of like out. I mean, it was good stoppage. It was good stoppage.
Did you expect that type of performance from Ortiz to knock out Lubin that early? A lot of people were saying it's going to finish. It was not going to go past 10.
Yeah.
Do you think it was going to go by the second?
Like I said before, Lubin can't be fighter. I thought it was going to go a little longer, but he got the job done. But like I said, I got something for him, and I'm going to show the world I'm the best in the world.
This fight is going to be so awesome. But here's the problem, Luke. They're already doing a lot of business posturing after this fight. You got Rick Morigian, the manager of of Virgil Ortiz, and Oscar De La Hoya, both sort of saying, like, we need big time money to take this fight. We need $10 million to take this fight. I don't know if that's just posturing for the point of trying to get Turkey to come in and pay them stupid money for it, or if this really means we're going to have to build to this when the fight is right in front of us right now. And why I say that is because you're starting to hear both camps saying, we want to fight the other person, but we're willing to fight other people. Here's a Jake Donovan tweet criticizing what Oscar said after the fight. He says, Oscar De La Hoya has now twice claimed Golden Boy holds the upper hand in talks for Ortiz Ennis, first during the in-ring post-fight interview and now during a post-fight press conference. Not the nonsense we need, just make the fight, especially after tonight's buzz. Hassan had a similar tweet after that, in which he said, Oscar De La Hoya says that if Virgil Ortiz is not the A side with Boots, it will not happen, and they will look at Errol Spence and Sebastian Fundora. Now, the Errol Spence fight has long been the dream fight for Virgil Ortiz. They're both from Dallas. They wanted to do this at Jerry World. They always talked about it. Virgil even said after the fight, I actually want the Spence fight more than Boots, to be fair and honest with you, because it's his dream fight. Then you hear reports on Twitter that Golden Boy's already talking to PBC about that fight. Luke, do you feel like if it doesn't happen next, they're going to miss this?
Yeah. Yeah, leave it to boxing in the middle of a takeover from a monopoly and a sister sport that they're out here just fucking, flicking their own nutsacks around and imagining that this is some kind of enjoyable game that we all like to watch. Dude, I mean, listen, I'll be honest, BC. I'll be honest. Virgil Ortiz versus Errol Spence. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I hate that fight because I don't.
Spence was in attendance on Saturday watching it. Yep.
I don't hate that fight at all. I absolutely don't hate that fight. And, you have really, he sold himself to the public, but you have also sold me on the fact that, Fundora, there's something special about him. I don't hate a fight between Virgil Ortiz and Sebastian Fundora either. I don't hate it. I think if you got either of those, I wouldn't look at that and go, oh, these fights suck. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it just seems to me that if you're a mover and a shaker in boxing and you're looking around at the state of the sport and you're thinking to yourself, we can just play the same old fuck games of not delivering on what the fans actually want. I mean, I'm not saying that you deserve to have a monopoly come take your business. That's really not what I'm saying. But it's not like you're doing a lot to actively resist it on the parts that you can control. This is within your grasp to really reward the fans, to give them something, especially BC after kind of a shit year in the sport of boxing, to really give them something a lot to hope for and look forward to. And as I mentioned, of all the permutations you can make within a single division, the best one is Boots versus Ortiz. I'll take Fundora versus Ortiz. I'll take Spence versus Ortiz, but that's just not the same as what you're going to get with Boots. And so to that end, BC, they might just whiff on this. But if they do, man, what can you say? Y'all just deserve to lose your business. You just didn't care. You didn't care to keep it. Why? Who cares?
Exactly. Both of these promoters are under Turkey. Both of them are on DAZN. Make the damn fight. But when I hear Oscar saying we have to be the A side and we need 10 million, or also Ortiz's manager saying something similar, then that leads me to believe maybe they don't think they can beat Boots and they want to sort of cash it out. But I would hope that Turkey would step in. I really hope, like you, this would not be in Saudi. I would love for this fight. Heck, I love that they grabbed Teofimo and Shakur and they're like, let's put it in MSG. Hell yeah, let's make it huge. Let's take this fight, put it in a big city, in a big arena. You don't have to put it in Philly or Dallas to favor either guy. Put it in LA at the Staples Center. I don't care. But get Turkey involved. Make it the main event of a Ring Magazine card. And by the way, the Ring Magazine cards have been great. You got to give Turkey that credit for what he's done recently. This seems like a perfect fight for that, Luke. I really hope it's not like the co-main in Saudi, but yet everybody gets paid, more than they deserve. I don't know. Just make the damn fight. This is great. We got buzz. We got legitimate buzz right now. Let's go to topic number 5, a great fight, which they did make. Thank you very much. It's Saturday. It's a rematch of that April dramatic, insane slugfest that is my current front runner for fight of the year in 2025. And frankly, one of the most dramatic fights of this entire decade. It's Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, part 2, as the second generation British stars continue this legendary rivalry between families in which their fathers fought multiple times. This one's going to be back at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium like it was the first one. And the storylines are getting even juicier with Ambulance Gate and all the things established with their daddies and all that. LT, it's just remarkable how insane that April fight was when it could have been nothing. No title at stake. Two guys that never truly lived up to their potential or, came close to exceeding what their dads did. And Eubank father and senior at that point were not talking, although it was a big pro wrestling ruse. And then they delivered drama, action. They're not even in the same weight class. It was just the perfect matchup in which the smaller Conor Benn acted like the bigger puncher, yet ultimately got slightly outboxed in a war. Is there any chance that Saturday's fight can live up to or exceed what we saw just, 7 months ago?
There's always a room whenever you get a fun fight. There's always room for reality that you might be in the first stage of a Vasquez Marquez. You're on the first chapter of a Gotti Ward or something like that. So essentially what you're having to ask is, are we at one of those? Because BC, if you get another one, let's think realistically. If you get a second fight that's like the first, particularly if Conor Benn wins, you're going to get a third. That's just what it's going to be. And you might get a third one anyway, even if Benn doesn't win. I guess I would say this. I've been reading what Bomac has been saying in preparation for the show and for the fight itself. And Bomac has been of the belief, he's like, yeah, there were some things we just didn't know what we were going to get with Conor Benn the first time. You'll recall, BC, this was when Bomac had to go to jail in England because he brought a revolver to the place, that's always fun. In any event, Bomac is like, yeah, there were some things we definitely didn't know what we were going to get with Benn, given a few factors the first time, but we got it, and I think he's going to make it look worse. Correct me if my memory is wrong, BC. Didn't Benn lose 8-4 on all three judges' scorecards? Isn't that right?
I don't have that in front of me, but that sounds about right.
I believe that's correct. Now, that doesn't mean that it wasn't close at times and there weren't these wild momentum swings that made it for a dramatic affair. But in the end, it was kind of 2-1 in one direction. Is that right?
Yeah, you're correct. 116, 112 across the board.
Yep. So this is what I'm saying. I am hopeful that the rematch will be good, and I'm pretty confident the rematch will be good no matter what. The thing that I think is what is in tension is how much is it true that Benn has been figured out by Eubank versus, you notice, BC, that first cut to get down there was brutal. And then there was the whole thing about his ambulance being blocked to leave the event to go get medical care.
Rehydration clause.
The rehydration clause, the whole bit. If he is really doing damage to himself to make the weight, Eubank, in order to stay in these kind of this orbit of a big fight for himself, then I think you really have to upgrade Benn's chances. But I just think boxer to boxer, and especially like natural size to natural size, Eubank is just better. So I only have a question about what the weight cut and the weight management does to his durability for a second time, what is a very, very brutal affair to get down there.
Yeah, this fight will be contested at 160 pounds. Eubank Jr. made that weight despite having, fought at 168 for a stretch of his career. But with that rehydration clause, it's a tough-ass weight cut. And, of course, Conor Benn, who was probably at his best on the rise up at 147, but had PED issues, moved up to 154, didn't look like a killer anymore. But in this first fight at middleweight, like I said, came out with insane heart, acted like the bigger puncher, was walking Eubank down, forced Eubank to be the boxer. As we look at the odds right now, Chris Eubank Jr., a -175 betting favorite, +135 is Benn. But if you're wondering about this hullabaloo surrounding ambulance gate, basically Chris Eubank Jr. is accusing Eddie Hearn, the promoter of Conor Benn, of blocking the ambulance on the way out of the arena to keep him there longer, to make him, going to the level of showing videos and behind the scenes footage of it. You have Chris Eubank Sr. accusing Eddie Hearn of not putting Eubank Jr.'s health first. Here's the Talk Sport team coming after Chris Eubank Jr. for playing up the sympathy card with this storyline.
We've got to stop allowing Eubank to milk the sympathy vote, because he's the one that is allowing a £1 million clause to be in his contract that doesn't allow him to rehydrate. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say you're dehydrated and then say that I'm in jeopardy when you are the one that putting yourself in that position.
What he's saying, Spencer, is in his second statement, Eubank Jr. is saying, I'm shining a light in the situation to make sure that if I end up looking like this again on November the 15th, that I'm simply taken to hospital as quickly as possible, and that's all.
We've turned it into an argument about whether Chris Eubank could get an ambulance out of a stadium, where the question is did he have a delay, and why did he have a delay? Where Chris Eubank has gone with it is, I have a delay because of you, Eddie Hearn. Where he'll get himself smacked is by accusing somebody of something that he cannot accuse them of. The argument that it's Eddie Hearn's fault, well, he's the promoter of note, so he has to take some responsibility for it. The real issue, the real reason, let's get it right. This is a story, and it sells a fight. It's a narrative. It creates an outcome.
Yeah,
it's
but it's also a fact, Simon, that these things did happen.
I don't dispute it, but what's the motivation behind it? My belief, the motivation behind it, with due respect to Chris Eubank, is not to make a point about how near to death he was, because he chose to go down that pathway with respect by not taking the rehydration clause that penalised him by £1 million. But the fact is, it's about selling a fight.
Look, do you feel like Chris Eubank Jr. just needs like an emotional battle to fight to be at his best coming in?
He seems to love, I don't know, BC, like when he was taking shots at Frank Warren, at that press conference, and like he just seems to revel in it a little bit, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why these commentators are kind of dismissing some of his concerns. They're pretty valid. He's taking, yes, ultimately he's agreeing to these conditions, and so therefore he's responsible for meeting them. But at the same time, they're very, very tough. And, honestly, who is doing more physical deterioration to make these two fights possible? It's Eubank. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Why is that unfair to say? Now, whether Hearn was involved in letting the ambulance leave on time, I don't know what the evidence for that would be necessarily. But to answer your question, BC, I mean, this is part of what the Eubank Benn magic is. Both the clash of their personalities and then the weirdness or the differences that they each bring. And Eubank just seems to love narrative and rhetoric and circumstance around his orbit. It works for him, to be honest. I sort of get it.
Here's Eddie Hearn's reaction talking to Marcos Viegas.
But what you can't do is accuse me and Matchroom of deliberately stopping or delaying an ambulance. It's a dangerous thing to say. He said Eddie Hearn stopped and blocked my ambulance from leaving. In the meantime, I'm with Conor Benn doing a press conference. Didn't even know this is all going on. But unfortunately, he's got it so wrong, but still refuses to just say, I don't mind. I don't mind this. I don't like Eddie Hearn. I think he's a prick. And, I want to be able to leave as quickly as possible in an ambulance, which he absolutely should. But I shouldn't have said that. Because that's not, whatever you think of me, you can't expect to say things like that. And for me just to go, yeah, all right. Because what you're saying is I put your life at risk. Now, he walked to the ambulance. He was actually asked that they'd take him to the ambulance. He chose to walk and all this kind of stuff. And it was precautions, but that doesn't matter. You should always, we want the best route possible. And that's a British Boxing Board of Control obligation and responsibility and an emergency service responsibility. But, of course, that's what we want. But what you can't do is accuse me and Matchroom of deliberately stopping or delaying an ambulance. It's a dangerous thing to say. Unfortunately, he's not sensible enough, or he's too stubborn. He has a big chip on his shoulder to say, I don't like you. And yes, the control centre did have to open the gates, but I shouldn't have said that. And I know you didn't block the ambulance, but I still think you're a prick.
There you go. Luke, just to correct, and I wasn't really up on this either, Bomac was not with Eubank for the first fight, although he had worked with Eubank Jr. in the past. They reunited for this fight. Here's a video.
Well, let me just say, I definitely did see Bomac saying that he learned something from the first fight that Eubank was going to encounter that they would have ironed out. So he at least was kind of plugged in on what was happening there.
We do have video of Bomac firing up Eubank in the gym. And the reason Bomac said he came back with Eubank was because Eubank talking about needing more of that like killer instinct spirit inside of him.
So now you gotta go in for the kill. This is where the kill is made at. This is where the kill is made at. Pick it up, man. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up, man. Pick it up. Hey. Ain't no motherfucking fluke. You gotta dig in his ass, man. You're the fucking ball.
Look, I just love the image of a large man with a bag of family-sized Cheetos screaming at a dude with jacked abs going, you got to get in his ass. You got to dig in the ass.
You got to dig in his ass.
Good Lord. All right, to close, here's Conor Benn on what he underestimated about Eubank in the first fight that he hopes to fix in this rematch on Saturday.
When you got in there, did you know immediately that this fight was going to go the way it was going to go?
No. I thought after the third round that it was curtains. I thought it was curtains.
There was a moment in that fight, in that third round, where your prediction nearly came true.
I thought he couldn't live with my ferocity, my spite, my tenacity, my aggression. I thought he couldn't live with any of that. Hunger, sharpness. But, you know, I underestimated the man.
I feel like Ben is going to come out guns blazing again, Luke, and maybe even try a quicker pace to try to put Eubank in a spot where he has no gas. How do you see this rematch going? I got Ben by decision.
Wow, really? No, I'll take Eubank. I'll take Eubank by decision. Yeah.
Okay.
I won't say stoppage because I think he's going to be too diminished, but I think he'll get the job done for sure.
All right. Can't wait. That is this Saturday. Check it out there from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Luke Thomas, it's official. The holidays are around the corner, and that means lights, gifts, and get-togethers. But if you want to give somebody a long-lasting supply of something that'll stand by their side, you might want to consider Mando, right? Because you can know it, Luke, whether you're running around getting gifts, whether you're putting up that Christmas tree, you can get a little rusty there under the hood. But the thing about Mando is Mando's the real MVP, even for the holiday season. Clinically proven 72-hour odor control, safe for the whole body. We're talking pits, package, feet, wherever you put it. It stops odors before it starts, and you can choose from 3 formats: invisible spray, solid stick, invisible cream. LT, you know when it's time for that holiday season, you can't have that. You can't have it. All right.
Yeah, don't forget there's 4 cologne quality scents you can pick from. Just as a general observation: Bourbon Leather, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and Clover Woods. But I'm going to tell you what I like about Mando, which is the quality of the ingredients. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, the older I get, I'm absolutely looking and paying attention to what's on the label, what's in here, what am I putting either in my body for food or something like that, but what am I putting on my body as well? Is this safe? Is this effective? Are they using premium ingredients? And with Mando, you really don't have to worry about that. Mando has ingredients that are aluminum-free, baking soda-free, cruelty-free, dye-free, and for those who care about it enough, certainly vegan as well. This is what I want. And by the way, clinically made to control both sweat and odor. It's effective, and it has the kind of ingredients that you can trust. You're not doing some kind of long-term damage to your body. You're only, in fact, taking care of it, both in the short run as well as the long run. As I mentioned, clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's, odor is a 5 out of 10. With Mando, it's a 0 out of 10. So here's what you're going to do. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers or to secure some last-minute stocking stuffers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use the code COMBAT, that's combat with a K, at shopmando.com. 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Don't let the meat sweats, BC, get you this holiday season. Your family and friends will thank you.
Yeah, holiday season does not mean it has to be swamp ass season. I'll tell you that much. So take care of yourselves for you and the family. All right, those are our 5 topics for this week. Thank you for playing now. We hear from you, the fan, every Sunday night at Morning Combat on Instagram and X. We give you the opportunity to be heard. Ask us whatever you want. This one's DMs from Donks. Hearing again from Christina Pinto _BJJ.
She wrote me about your pronunciation.
Is my right or wrong?
Halfway right. It's not Pinto. It's definitely not that. It's a little bit of a U, but she said you exaggerate the degree to which it's a ooh sound.
It's a little
light. It's got a light ooh to it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Christina, for reaching out. Might I say, Ricky Simon versus Ione Barcelos was a technical thriller. I mean, there was some technical elements that made it super fun, But this was also just straight up a bantamweight banger, was it not?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if technical thriller is the right answer to that, but that old goat, I'm telling you, man, that old goat is out there just doing something special. But technical thriller, no, I think the action would have to be a little slower than it was for that.
No. All right. Here's a technical thriller.
Okay.
Dominic Cruz's split decision over TJ Dillashaw. That's it in Boston. That's a technical.
Yeah, kind of edge of your seat, never crazy, but edge of your seat the whole time. Yes.
At high speed, a lot of skills. But yeah, I did enjoy that on Saturday. I just love that people are finally getting up on these TTs, Luke. You know what I'm saying? These technical thrillers.
I love TTs.
They're just all right. Let's hear from at Moishe Eisenman. Thank you, Moishe. Moishe.
I'm not sure.
If you could decide what the headliner will be for the first Paramount card, which fight would you make, LT?
Say it again. We'll put it one more time. If you could decide what the headliner.
And by the way, the latest reports seem to be the end of January. I had heard LA. Now I'm here in Vegas. I don't have an official announcement yet. We'll see what happens with this.
I'm going to go Topuria. I mean, just me personally, Topuria Batty.
Yeah. I wish Gaethje was. Well, no, I don't know if I wish Gaethje was healthy because that's not the fight I want. You know what? I'll say it. Topuria Sarukian. I wish they just did that right now. That's a banger.
I'd take that one too. Yeah,
I'll take that. That's my choice for this. All right. Thank you very much. Let's hear from David _Kirsch 55. The over-under is 2.5 of the welterweights competing in the MSG and Cutter cards becoming future champions.
Let me see.
So you got Ian Gary, Bilal Muhammad, Sean Brady, Michael Morales, Leon Edwards, Carlos Prates, and then I guess Islam JDM.
I'll take the over.
So you think this belt's going to bounce around at 170? That's really what you're saying.
I don't think Islam's going to be there that long. That's what I think.
Well, where's he going?
I think he'll be here, and then okay. So let's say he wins Saturday. I think he'll defend the title 1, maybe 2 times, and then I think he'll call it a day.
And then retire before he fights Topuria, or including?
I think if he wins at 70, I don't know if we're ever going to get it.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
How long do you think he's going to be around for?
4 fights at welter, including Topuria.
Oh, I'd be surprised.
All right. You think Ian Gary will ever hold it?
Yeah, I think he could. I think he could.
I do too. I don't wonder if Shavkat's ever going to get back in the game.
Fucking hell, man! I mean, dude, 2025 was just a dead year for him.
Yeah,
crazy
indeed. Let's hear from MT Booble. We like this guy. City you want to visit in the U.S. that you have never been to?
That's an easy one for me. I am so I've been all over the world. I am so ashamed to say I've never been to Seattle. I've never been to Seattle. I want to go to Seattle.
And I want to very badly. I would say Nashville's up there for me.
You never been to Nashville?
No, I've been around it. I've been to Lebanon, Tennessee for a wedding. I've done
some drinking in Nashville, Tennessee.
But then again, if you're like, yo, BC, you want to go to Seattle or Nashville? I'm taking Seattle. But part of that Seattle is like too. Proximity to national parks.
Dude, a flight to Nashville from like BWI or whatever is like, it's like an hour, 45. It's like 45 minutes. And Nashville's changed a lot. It's become a lot more corporate than it once was. But one thing I really like about Nashville is if you're into live music, and I don't love country music by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're into just live performers,
sure,
Nashville's got a lot of really good live performers. It's actually kind of fun.
We used to say that about Austin until all those comedians invaded it, Luke. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I've never been to San Fran. That's still up there.
Oh my God, dude, really?
I'm an East Coast
You've never
guy.
seen like the old redwood trees and stuff like that?
No. Northern California is high on my list, very high.
Dude, you're missing out. Those things are crazy to see. It's fun.
See it all. Okay, thank you very much. Let's keep it going here. Our final one is from John Winklefred. Rank your top 3 holidays in.
Okay. First, I'd go Christmas. Christmas is the king of holidays for sure.
Yeah, don't stop putting that Christ in Christmas, Luke. Please don't stop. All right.
Well, I mean, you know, My family won't let me. I'll put it that way.
I mean, there's a reason for the season, Luke. Okay.
Bro, how many nativity sets do you have in your house?
Just one, and I have to fight my family to bring it back out. They want to retire it, and I keep bringing it back.
Bro, I've got like 3 or 4 up in this piece.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a bunch. So Christmas is number 1, I feel like. Got to go Christmas number 1. I'm going to say number 2. You know, the temptation is to say Thanksgiving, BC, especially because you do get 2 days off. You're supposed to anyway.
If you disparage the best holiday in the world, I'm not going to be happy.
I think Thanksgiving is a 3 for me, to be honest with you. I'm going to put, it's not even really a holiday. I'm going to put Halloween as number 2. And I want to tell you why. Not only is it just a wonderful time of the year, October, king of the months, but it's really now turned into a whole month-long kind of dutiful celebration where you're watching scary movies all week. Now we put decorations all over the house. It has this big crescendo moment with a bunch of happy children. Dude, I fucking love Halloween, especially now that I'm a dad. Like, it's just the best. So I'm going to go Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving.
I'm going to go Thanksgiving, and we already know it's the best holiday.
You're
by
just
far.
out of your mind.
Everyone comes home. It's football, family, food. I mean, it's everything you'd want, right? Number 2 is Christmas. There ain't nothing, like it except for Turkey Day. And the third I'll go is Father's Day, Luke. I love Father's Day.
Okay. What have you had a particularly good one recently?
I don't need anything crazy for Father's Day to be great. I just need my wife, my 2 kids, and I to spend the whole day together, go for walks, get ice cream, do basic stuff that's awesome and just celebrate that. I'm tempted also to put 4th of July on there. Not, I don't have a dislike for our country, but it's not necessarily like, yeah, USA. It's just great weather. You typically go somewhere fun, by the water, fireworks, cookout. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a nice break in the eye. It kicks off summer in some ways. Yeah. All right. That's all I got here.
Luke says New Year's Eve is the number 1. And I'm like, that's only true if you don't have kids and you're not that old.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's not always true every year, but like if you have a good New Year's Eve party and everyone's like going to stay up and all that there's nothing that beats that, man.
I'd say between the ages of 19 and 26, my real favorite holiday was Thanksgiving Eve, aka Valley New Year. I mean, that's, going back to the local bar and like everyone's back and you're, and yeah.
So it was the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We would come back home and we would all see each other. Like everyone who was in high school together, went to their colleges, would come back home and you would see each other for the first time and you'd see who had the freshman 15. You know what I'm saying?
And then like the younger classes below you would become of age and come into the bar scene and, you'd be a dirt hole. And yeah, there you go. All right. That's it for that. You can reach our program at morningcombat@gmail.com for your Friday dead wrongs and fan subs. We will not be with you this Friday, but don't forget Thursday, pregame preview, 11 a.m. Eastern with Oscar Wilde. Yes. Final segment is where I scour the globe for the highs and lows, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-between in the worlds of combat sports and beyond. I'm not going to say it's a great batch, although last week overachieved.
Last week was very solid, super solid.
All right. This one's called Have You Seen This Shit? Thank you. Hooah, indeed. That somebody's drinking right now. Yeah, all right. Hey, Luke, you didn't have to go to the New York City subway today, so I thought I'd bring the New York City subway to you. You ever hear of snakes on a plane? How about snakes on a train, LT?
Yeah, brother. This is New York.
I mean, remember when you and I got on that subway car and that dude had an open flesh wound on his head and he was screaming satanic stuff at us and we didn't get off? We probably should have.
Yeah.
Would that snake guy force you to get off?
I might stick around. If I'm on the local, I might stick around for one more stop. If I was on the express, I'm getting off after the next one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to ride 30 more blocks with him, but I'll ride 10 with him.
Would the next subway creature force you to get on or get off in a different way, Luke? Let's watch this gentleman.
This is why, God, you got to know how to ride the New York City subway, boys and girls.
Oh, he's riding it, Luke. He's riding it. Believe me.
Let me explain something to you. How do you hold on to things on the New York City subway? I'm going to show you how to do it. Number 1, you press against the lower part of your palm.
Yeah.
Or, BC, this is what you got to do. You got to go elbow deep and use your clothes to hold it.
the carbonic acid and just pour it over your hand as you're holding.
If you don't have hand sanitizer ready, it's the elbow or it's the palm. It's never this. That is a disaster. Don't ever do that.
And finally, would you get on or off the train if you saw this in the subway, Luke? This kind of performance art. Are you not entertained?
This is the most normal thing that happens on the N train.
So true. So true.
This is the most normal thing I've ever seen happen on the New York City subway.
All right. Well done there. Check out their Broadway show later this week. All right, Luke, let's go to your KO of the week. It's a sidewalk fatality that you need to see. All right.
Oh, what?
Wow.
Did he turn into, is that AI?
No.
Did he turn into Jello?
Dude, he got cranked by that right hand.
He's just swinging hard. A guy gets under it. Oh, gets his head off the center line. Golly.
Wow, dude. That is brutal. That's going to hurt.
Don't get in street fights on concrete, you idiots. I'm telling you.
Look, you ever play in the corporate softball game and someone took it too seriously? That's usually me.
You think I had that kind of corporate camaraderie?
Let's check in on this company. Yo, dude, I actually support that. I'm that guy at the ESPN Rec League in basketball who's almost getting into a fist fight with the referee or scorekeeper.
You're going to tear both of Janet's ACLs from HR just for a point on a stupid game.
She's out at home, Luke. That's fair play where I come from. By the way, there was a for charity dodgeball tournament at my kid's high school a couple of years ago, and I came out like Game 7 style and turned off a lot of people, Luke. A lot of people.
I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
It wasn't good. All right, let's head on over to the gridiron. Forget pick six, Luke. They're calling this thick six. Did you see this guy? Watch this interception here.
Oh, it's like Jumbo Elliott.
Yeah, look at this guy. Big country. Just go.
Dude, what is this, high school?
Yeah, I think so. But rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Someone just make him trip, you idiots.
Look, he could go all the way.
Oh my God, Jumbo Elliott. That's amazing.
He did die of lack of oxygen after that, but what a return.
Yeah, he had a coronary after this, and sadly he's no longer with us, but great play.
Let's go to the Bethune-Cookman Grambling State game. Went to a football game, Luke, and a brawl broke out between the two sides. Look at this.
Oh, he's got no helmet on. I feel like fighting with no helmet on or fighting with a helmet on is both ways. Oh!
Yeah, they're throwing. They're throwing, Luke.
Oh, that was a pretty good punch. Not
bad. Not bad. Let's go to youth football. Look, you ever had to be the chain gang member at your daughter's football game? No, not yet, right?
Not yet.
No. Look at the t-shirt that this dad wore.
What does it say?
I guess you'll have to see it again.
Lift heavy, eat ass. That was my motto for my 20s. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, indeed. Luke, normally we don't praise the Bills Mafia, but they took it out on Patrick Mahomes this week. Look at this, Luke.
You know, Bills Mafia sucks, but I'm not gonna lie, this is real funny.
Yeah. And finally, check out this youth football player whose dad just taught him the stiff arm before the game. Watch this.
Dude.
Look, were you one of those like 12-year-olds that was 6 feet tall? And
yeah.
You could have been doing this, okay?
5th grade, I think I grew 9 inches in a year.
Wow. Yeah. 5th grade, dude?
Yeah.
I didn't get tall till summer before 9th grade. Wow, Luke.
But I've been this tall since I was 16.
Jeez. Okay.
Jesus Christ, dude. Who's he playing?
Disabled kids? They are now. Luke, I call this kid a young Machine Gun Kelly.
Bro, it sounded like Optimus Prime turning back into a truck.
I hope he made it in time.
Yeah.
I hope he made it in time. All right, let's go to the New York City streets. Anything can happen. Dude, that's a perfect egg toss right there.
This is New York. God,
Yeah,
I love
that
New
is.
York. They're the
It's time for your tan line of the week. Check out this racing fan here. Coming up. Let's stand for the national anthem. Oh my God.
Bro, can I tell you, speaking of the Marine Corps, so this is how we would all look like 8 weeks. So I went to Paris Island in June of 1998, and they would give us, they don't call them hats, they call them covers. They give you a cover to wear. And of course, you're outside all the time. So then 8 weeks, I mean, it was the Marine Corps boot camp was 13 weeks, but by 8 weeks in, you take your hat off and they all have that tan line where they've got, it's just completely white here or whatever, and then dark as shit from the way down. And they all look that way. They look real stupid, but I've definitely seen it before.
Look, it's time for MMA fighters in the wild, and I popped for this. Real recognizing real when Dimitri Bivol and Fedor got together, yo.
Understand that the man on the left competed with guys well in excess of 250, even sometimes 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And the other guy fights at 175 pounds.
Yes.
It's dude, Fedor is so criminally underrated. It's insane to me.
I love him. We won't play the sound for copyright purposes, but here's Alexander Volkanovski joining Jelly Roll on stage, singing to his tunes while Jelly Roll holds the belt. Luke, your thoughts?
I found out randomly that Jelly Roll follows me on Twitter. I don't know why.
Dude, that's not bad, right?
I guess he's an MMA fan. Volk's got the tightest jeans on earth, but otherwise this looks fun.
Yeah. Shout out to Volk for this. Also, footage has emerged from a 2008 Sambo match in which Habib defeated Alexander Volkov. Luke, did you know about this?
No.
This is
That's
wild.
not real, is it?
It is. AI can't produce this.
I mean, it could. Fires to the underhook, inside trip, and then outside trip. That's nice.
Yeah, dude, Habib's a beast, man.
Someone was asking me, like, oh, could he beat, middleweights in the UFC? Because I guess Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman were like, oh, he could. And, I'm not saying it. I mean, I don't know what he is at this point, but, like, I've definitely heard stories of Habib in the gym giving welterweights and middleweights the fight of their lives.
Oh,
so,
dude, Luke Rockhold was on that Jackson pod, and he was talking
clear
about
example
Islam,
of that. Yep.
And he said Islam was throwing him around, and he's like, I've never seen strength like that. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Those guys are different, Luke. They sacrificed all to be that different. You know what I'm saying?
It worked out. They're fucking good.
Yeah, they were. Luke, the UFC did a bit where they interviewed their fighters and asked them to look at pictures of Brock Lesnar. What do you think they said about him?
Brock Lesnar. He recently came back at 48 years old, and he's absolutely jacked. He's in the best shape of his life.
That's him now.
That's him right now. What? Is he just a genetic specimen?
I mean, he might be a bit of a genetic specimen, but there's some other stuff going on there.
Cheater.
Yeah.
I think he's not natural. It's anabolic. His age look like this. He for sure used something.
Well, that's when he won the title at 32 years old, and now he's 48 years old.
I want to ask him what he eat, what he do, but I'm not sure about his overall health.
Do you think we could ever see Brock Lesnar come back to the UFC?
If he could pass a drug test.
I don't think so. He will never pass the doping test.
He can. Look at this guy.
Now, you don't have a lot of contenders in the heavyweight division. Would you like to see Brock Lesnar return to the UFC?
If you can pass the drug test, I'll do it. I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Anabolic?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's on that Overeem diet.
Luke, the Dodgers made it 2 straight championships, including one of their players is all over Ariel. You see that? Luke just dunking all over him.
Oh,
But
Kike Hernandez? I did see that, yeah.
Here's the best post-celebration interview that I found.
Obviously, when you got a guy like Yoshinobu Yamamoto on your team, it makes things a little easier, Especially for a guy like me that, all I did was bring in, a piece of fucking a pencil to the project to get an A. But I got an A, and here we are, back-to-back champs, David. That's right, Enrique. 3-time World Series champion, back-to-back. Enrique Hernandez. Love your nipples.
That's awesome.
Luke, you know that bit where they kick a ball and the gender reveal happens? Apparently they're doing that at weddings now. I don't know if this was a shotgun marriage. Watch the flight of this ball. Oh. Boy. Okay. She ain't hooking up at the reception now, Luke. I'll tell you that much.
These blue-haired libs are out of control. That's what I know.
Luke, this gives new meaning to the term elder abuse. Let's get some life advice here.
What is the secret to living a long life? First off, how old are you?
I'm 99.
Okay.
And how I made it to 99, I smoked a lot, I drank a lot, and I had a lot of sex.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. That's how you get to
Hell
be.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy. At
It's really
99
not complicated, BC. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a complicated formula, you know.
Just be happy and live your life. Yeah, that's great. Pickleball is becoming a violent game. Watch this. Oh, wow. Crowned him. Yeah, that's wow. That's
So someone's got to call that ball there. You know what I mean? Like with the outfielders, you got to call the fly ball.
indeed. Luke, did you play a lot of hacky sack in high school during like?
I wouldn't say I played a lot. I mean, I've played it a couple times.
All right, that was huge in my community in the mid '90s. Luke, huge. We didn't really play like soccer hacky sack, but watch this video anyway. Could you volley here? Could you keep this alive, Luke?
But that's a full soccer ball, isn't it?
Yeah. They're just kind of booting it back and forth here. But could you
I
play?
mean, I could do a little bit, but not really. I'm not like I'm good at this.
All right, watch this. Watch the flight of this ball. Look, this chick's keeping it going. Nice work.
All right. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude. And that was wow.
Yeah. Oh, look, this next message brings new meaning to the term no shave November.
Hairy pussy season.
Throwing it back to the 80s, Luke. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
That's
all
a
right.
thing that's a thing. Sure.
That is a thing, apparently. Luke, how do you eat your ramen? Have you learned the new way to do it? To eat it hard.
The hardest way I eat my ramen noodles. I boil my water and then I eat the ramen raw. I snort the seasoning packet, drink the boiling water, and fuck bitches.
I've not tried that method, but that seems like a little laborious. I got to tell you.
Honey, I'm making dinner tonight. Don't worry about it. All right. Yeah. And finally, Luke, 6'7's taking over. It's out of control. Watch this.
Kind of on behind mommy on this side so we can see all the sunflowers on that side.
6'7",
Yeah, there we go.
9'11".
No.
My daughter does this.
What, the 9/11 part at the end? Look, yeah.
She does 8/11, but I can't tell if she's just messing it up because she's 6,
Yeah.
But
hopefully all our 9/11 fans got their fix this week. That's all the shit that I can handle.
you know what? It was a C, but it was a solid C given the state of things,
It was an enjoyable ride. All right, real quick, morningcombat.shop. Go there right now. November exclusives are available. They'll be gone by the end of this month. Fill out your holiday shopping list right now. Get an autograph poster. Get yourself some Combat Buddy tee, some Drippin' Wet logo, whatever you want. Mix and match the colors. Evergreen items available. Morningcombat.shop. I got to get ready for CBS Sports HQ, but it was great doing the show today. Okay.
Thank you for doing it with me, BC. I enjoy it. What are you going to talk about on HQ?
UFC 322 super preview coming your way. Me and Tommy.
Are you going to be in HQ like every day this week?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, I suspect.
Yes, I will. I'm going to be at the fight Saturday as well, so hopefully I'll see some of our donks out there. UFC 322 at MSG
fun.
if you can afford it. If anyone out there can afford it. All right, that's it. Long Island Luke, what do you want to tell these people?
Bet breakdown coming out tomorrow. I'm going to be on No Bets Barred this week with Jed, and prop quiz coming Friday. But we'll talk about
the
that.
championship, the season 2 championship for $100.
So there's a chance we got some scheduling conflicts. I might have to do like a one-off matchup this week, and then the championship next week.
Like a
so we'll
super
see
fight.
what happens. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right, that's it. LT, that's all I got for you. Okay, that's all I got for you. For LT, it's BC. Thank you for playing. Hey, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, Oscar Wilde will join us. It's going to get crazy. Brought to you by Cuervo, pregame preview. Enjoy it. Until then, take care of yourselves. We're out of here. That's it.